I did this thing about,
Pretty good, pretty good.
Welcome to the greatest Rotary Club in the world.
in the woods. An atheist was walking through the woods.
All right.
What majestic trees,
Planned this
what
meeting
powerful
for my
rivers.
whole life.
What beautiful animals, he said to himself. As he was walking alongside the river, he heard a rustling in the bush.
Our invitation, Ruth.
He turned to look and saw a 7-foot grizzly bear charging toward him. Pictures show that. He ran as fast as he could up the path. He looked over his shoulder and saw that the bear was closing in on him.
Let us be thankful for.
He looked over his shoulder again and the bear was even closer.
Let us be thankful for.
He tripped and fell on the ground.
Doing good. Comment.
He rolled over to pick himself up but saw that the bear was right on top of him, reaching for him.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible,
At that instant,
liberty and justice
Atheist
for all.
cried out,
And the four-way test.
"Oh my
It is
God!"
the truth, it is the fair and all concern, will fulfill goodwill and better friendships,
The
will be
foolish.
beneficial to all concerned.
As the bright light shone upon the man, a voice came out of the sky. You deny my existence for all these years. Teach others I don't exist, and even credit creation to cosmic accident.
Oh,
Do you expect me to help you out of this predicament?
My sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Well, very well, say the voice. Lay them out. Thank you. The sound of the thunder.
Do we have any visiting Rotarians?
Lord, bless this food for what's in about this. Lord, amen.
Thank you, Louis. All right. Sergeant at Arms, Marty.
The Helping Hands Food Bank.
All right.
We'd like to make a brief little announcement.
First of all-
It's okay to do now?
Go for it.
Okay. All right, come on.
I know you all,
My name is Brandon again.
first of all, we had early leavers, and it was just mine, because everybody else was early leaving yesterday. And we got some anniversaries.
And I'm here to do so as
And
well.
then we got
So,
little tags, I know two of you are missing your little tags, so that's what we'll do. My team, John and Travis, can you collect the
Tickets are $25 a piece. All proceeds go to Helping Hands Food Bank. And if you.
And
There, I got some.
everybody's gonna pay back for everything that you can't answer. So, we now have this really cool YouTube meetings that you can watch, so that we can all have 100% attendance, and maybe even shots. We're very excited about this. I have watched 3 of these episodes, so if you have not watched please. How many people have done it? Oh, look at us. We're cool. There's whole entire Rotary clubs that are just on the internet now. Okay. How many of you religiously read your Rotarian magazine? So, about everybody that doesn't. Well, religiously means you get it in the mail.
Do we have any visiting Lord?
the last few months.
Still in debate yet, I don't know. We have to talk.
Is the sign up sheet for golf all around or is it day on here? So make sure Nick gets out of the day. Just as a show of hands, is there any interest in going out Tuesday and hitting bucket balls at game day for a little practice? Daryl and I are agreeing to go out and
200
provide
pounds.
guidance if requested. And hit balls on the
We're all
ball.
gonna pay a buck.
There is some, okay, so 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
You're right in the money, right in the money there.
And I will have pre-purchased.
And then another article, one of these magazines, was about
So,
those little
come on out.
libraries.
We
You
will
see
put
those
that
little
as part of
libraries?
the budget,
Berlin
so
has
we
one,
can
you
all
know, little
do
Roberts
things.
one, and,
If you want a little guidance for your practice, it'd be fun. And then we're
So,
gearing up for Thursday.
those little libraries are popping up everywhere. I think they're pretty cool. I haven't visited
Our
one.
caterer
Has
for Thursday,
anybody borrowed a book from one?
Lorenzo, that's right.
Nice. So, you can
And
register.
I think I read in your email that dinner was
And
about
how
7.
many do you
You might
think
wanna
are
push
registered
that up, I
around the
don't know,
world?
push that up a little.
They're gonna be there at 6:30 setting up and kind of feed yourself, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Any guesses? Throw it out there.
Thank you very much, Nick. This is a great time. Any other
10,000?
or announcements?
There is
Yes.
50,000 registered little libraries around the world. I thought that was pretty cool.
I wanted you guys to put
Okay.
the Christmas party on your
Since we are
calendars.
saying
It's gonna be
September, we were
Saturday,
low
December the
behind
2nd.
and
And John and Kate
This
graciously,
is the first time I've done the project or the
and then they
program.
would host this
I
year,
called about
so
a
you
billion
have to
people
go
here,
and
and now they're doing
come on.
virtual again, so I think they're the first part done. But Travis promises to entertain us
Thank you,
a little
John.
bit, and Becky is also doing it for a re-up, because there's a lot of new people coming in, and we have.
Since we're talking about committees, I would like
to
to take the ball and maybe start stirring around a little bit, so we can think about getting together the next
Oh,
week.
on the 21st, I'm gonna have Ken Phoenix come speak.
What we know already,
And so, I
started,
don't know if you guys
so if the
know,
ball
but
committee,
Simply Fire,
maybe after
always
the meeting
designation,
next week.
Food to Burn.
All right, Mike, you wanna grab the mic and talk about Team October?
Kids around the area.
Team October, if you don't know who you are, it's, I guess I'm the captain, Becky Eldy, Phil Brockman, Mike Schwager, Brian Gansky, and Larry Campbell. If you could take a few minutes.
Great, y'all gonna pay a buck.
to move the
It is October 7th, what's that?
good programs, et cetera, et cetera.
It hurts when you have to pay your fare. That's like when I had to pay for when I drank water instead of beer, and, you know, I'm just getting payback now, you know? And it only happens once a year, so it's October 7th, and after they give you the presentation on Camp Phoenix, you're really gonna wanna participate, and we're gonna have some good paybacks and stuff like that.
I think we need to give a round of applause of appreciation for Chuck Rule and his track team of barbecue.
We'll have more this year. It's never gonna go bad.
Hey, Marty.
Yes.
You're doing a great job on this track, and I think I'm up to 6 of us. Thank you. Just so
Oh, you want to give more?
No, I'm.
For the other me, or? I'm sorry, Mr. President. Okay, moving right along. I have just a couple more minutes.
I did this thing about.
Okay, so how many Rotary clubs do you think there are on Earth?
It's called an atheist in the
And you know
woods.
what? It changes so
The
rapidly.
atheist was walking
That every
through the
magazine
woods.
has
What
a new
majestic
update
trees,
of the
what
clubs.
powerful
And
rivers.
there's four,
What
but
beautiful
there's
animals, he
Rotary
said to himself.
and two.
As he was walking alongside the river, he heard a rustling in the bushes behind him.
60,000?
He turned to look and saw a 7-foot grizzly bear charging
We
toward
have the
him.
river to split down, so.
Pictures show that.
Oh, you're
He
very
ran
close.
as fast as he
You're
could.
very close.
He looked over his shoulder and saw that the bear was closing in.
Yes, probably, but there are
Look over his shoulder again, and the bear was even closer.
35,533 clubs.
He tripped and
And
fell on the
then, my
ground.
next question, last question, I guess that was a free one.
He rolled over and picked himself up.
The next one is, how many people know what program is?
Raising his right paw to strike.
David's been talking about it a little
That's
bit,
what the guy
and
saw.
hopefully we can get them in and share more of it. Rotaract is the free
At that
club
instant,
Rotary,
the atheist
and it's for
cried out,
dancing 30-year-olds.
"Oh, my
And those are
God.
our future Rotarians.
Time
So
suck.
we're sponsoring
light shone upon the man.
That's a
A
good
voice came out of the sky.
And, so.
You deny my existence for all these years. Teach others I don't exist, and even credit creation to cause an
They're like
accident.
popping right up there.
Do you expect me to help you out of this predicament? Am I to count on you as a believer? Atheists would directly into the light and said, it would be hypocritical of me to suddenly ask you to drink me.
Happy dollars for
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Anybody happy
perhaps
after
you
that?
could make the bear. Very well, said the voice. The light went out.
Okay, you can tell us.
So I've got a happy five, and along that line, on October 19th, the Sedro-Woolley Rotary Club that we're part of the
There
charter
then broke,
is having their
brought both paws together, bowed his head and spoke.
So I encourage all of you to.
Lord, bless this food for what I'm about to receive. In the name of Christ our Lord, amen.
Thank you, Louis. All right, Sergeant Marty.
My happy fundraiser for, I'm really excited that my
First
nephew,
of all-
which was his very first college football game this past Saturday. It was a great night, shutout, it was a
Okay.
great game, he had a
So,
good time.
I know you
He's
all,
also doing very well in
first
school.
of all, we
He,
have early leavers and
just got somebody
everybody
summer
else
signing,
is
just
working.
salon fraternity.
We have birthdays and
and,
anniversaries.
He went over and helped out with
And then
lunch,
we got,
the first time he went
I
there,
know
he received
two
a
people
balance
in
dance
your
scholarship,
tags.
which I'm so proud of.
My team, John and Travis, can you
So,
select money?
he's just gonna make the most of his scholarship.
So, and, so now, everybody's just gonna pay a buck for everything that you can't answer, yes, so we now have this really big, two meetings that you can watch, so that we can all have a safe Anybody else ask about this? I have watched 3 of these episodes, so if you have not watched a YouTube video of our club, pay a buck, please.
As a chairman of the
How many
membership
people have done it?
committee, I'm happy to see.
Oh, look at us, we're full. There is
Actually,
whole
5
entire
members.
Rotary clubs that are just on the internet
And
now. I learned
As
that
a little
today.
announcement,
Okay,
after
How
7
many of
days
you
from today,
religiously
there's no
read your
objections.
Rotarian
5
way?
people will go to the induction.
so a buck for everybody that does it.
I
But
believe there was a
religiously,
couple of
we
new
did it in
people
the mail.
that came in that committee.
Ouch.
Travis.
Hey, $100, there we go, that's okay, so everybody pay for that. So I went through the last 3, last 3
Induction
issues,
process is going
and
to start.
something that is always printed in every single issue is our,
The average is 26, so
and the
those of you on the membership
Rotarian
committee will be getting in
Club,
contact with you to start these
How many
productions.
people
We'll have to
know
do them
that
in
it's-
about 2
or
meetings.
even remotely, the words to it.
We might be
So
having.
everybody pay up for that. And I think that since we're getting pretty darn good at four-way tests, we probably should know, like good Boy Scouts, our code of conduct. Don't you think?
Committee.
Do I hear it? Amen?
Amen.
There you
Ready for about.
All right, so,
meetings end of
go.
September.
Are we making money out there? Is it made up? Okay, so in one of these magazines in the last 3 months, it was about, there was an article about picking elephants. Did anybody read about the picking elephants? City fires, a little different. It's no, it should make y'all pay money back. But I'm gonna ask the question. And so, and a little picking elephant eats how much how many vegetarians is it? Anyway, so we live in a little yard, so they eat in a day, how many pounds? Just bear with me, I speak English. Get back to the.
200 pounds.
So get back there and they, you got 20 minutes. You're all gonna pay a buck, because it's 330 pounds.
You're right in the money, right in the money there.
And then another article, in one of these magazines, was about little libraries. You see those little libraries that you Clearlake has one, Willow Walk one, and I'm not sure if it's so those little libraries are popping up everywhere. I think they're pretty cool. I haven't visited one. Has anybody borrowed a book from the library? Nice. So you can register those little libraries. And how many do you think are registered around this world? It's not put together all, so it's open and you see all the wires and stuff. Any guesses? Throw it out. There is 50,000 registered little libraries in our food district. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. Since we are in September, we were a little behind the game. Big hole. They said, you call. This is the first time I've done the project. And I said, yes, I want to do that. And this is super cool. Now, those people think it's really super cool when they say, can I swim water? Travis promises to entertain us for a little bit. Yeah, Becky is all. It was boring to them, sitting up there, looking at that. There's a lot of new people coming in. I have to sit up there and watch it, and it is. Technology was so amazing, and I know many of you know all this stuff, but it's just amazing. Oh, that huge. And there's two people sitting there, but they're not doing anything. They never touch that steering wheel all the time. The tower at one point was saying, look out for that little plane to your left. Oh, and I had a gag with that silence that after 10,000 feet or something, I couldn't speak anymore, which was challenging. No. Great, you're all gonna pay a buck. It is, I'm getting older in 7 ways, so that was good. So I did maintain silence for this thing, but it's and that big old plane. That's like when I had to land and break out. Just crazy, just, you know, I'm just kidding, right back. To me, what? It's a technology. I know, but it's the autopilot. It's a good time. I'm sure a lot of you have been. Oh, I think it's experimental. It wasn't a commercial plane. It's still owned by. We'll have more this year. I already know that. Yes. It's okay. Put this on YouTube right now. You want to?
It'll be there.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
All right, it is time for the meeting. We don't want to meet, we're going to learn a little bit about ourselves. And Travis, are you going to go first?
And you know what? It's so
Travis, and he's a
that every
quote-unquote new
magazine
member.
has a new update.
And so we'll have one new member talk, and we'll have one seasoned member talk. And that'll be healthy. And so, come on up, Travis, and show us, tell us all about yourself.
I wondered if Marty could fill in.
I got more stories.
Thank you, Marty. Actually, you're great, and
You're very close.
organization.
That's next month's issue.
Yes, probably, but there are 35,533 requests. And then, my next question, last question, I guess that was a free one, they're free now. The next one is, how many people know what road rack is?
This is like the thing everybody.
David's been talking about that a little bit, and hopefully we can get them in and share more, but Rotaract is the prequel to Rotary, and it's for 18 to 30-year-olds. And those are our future Rotarians, so we're sponsoring our local Skagit County club that just started up not too long ago. And so we want to get to know them because that's where we're going to be getting our folks from. That's a good thing up there. And so, Rotaract.
Was that the Western or the Academy? I figured, but I thought I better clarify. What year was that? What year was that? I was 95. And then I basically was trying to
I hope you guys are really having really
trying to
great.
find ways to get it out.
Travis, are you ready?
I'm still happy.
Happy dollars first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anybody happy after
My
that?
wife, she was
Okay, $8.
So I've got a happy five, and along that line, on October 19th, the Skagit Rotary Club that we're part of the charter is having their charter night. And
literally, I think it was
so
overnight.
I encourage all of you to be here. We'll have some of the members come to one of our meetings with tickets to sell. It's really fun. Bringing it in. It's really great to get to know her. My happy $5 are for, I'm really excited that my nephew Lane Green, so his first college football game this past Saturday. It was a great night, shout out, it was a great game, he had a good time. And he's also doing very well in school, he, just passed away, he signed the Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity, and, he went over and helped out with freshman. The first night he went there, he received their balance band scholarship, which I'm so proud of.
Joey, I was in the Rotary, I looked up to the Rotarians in this town.
He's just gonna make the most out of his college years.
Always wanted to be a Sedro-Woolley Rotary. I was a Rotarian for about 10, 12 years, and then I took a position up.
I did. You have a date? Is that it? Woo-hoo. Is there like another type of register? Or maybe an angry one? We'll see. Anybody else happy? No
So
more
when I
happy
used to
people?
deliver paper.
Yes, there's
Street.
As a chairman of the membership committee, I'm happy to see on the table, there's
Howard Miller.
actually 5 new members proposed. And as a little announcement,
Best street ever to deliver newspapers on. These guys did-
after 7 days from today, if there's no objections, then these 5 people will go to the induction committee.
First day I walked into
And
Rotary, and
I
Howard Miller.
believe there was a couple of new people that wanted to be on that committee. I think it was Travis and Mark Vin. Was there a couple of, was
So
there one
anyway,
other
I
one
took
that-
a position.
Somebody else
in a small company.
had raised their hand that day? Avery was asking about committees.
Went in as their CFO.
If not,
They sell outdoor
the
products.
induction process is going to start somewhere after,
REI,
what is it, and we'll be back to 26, I think it is.
Sporting goods store.
It'll be after the 26th, so
Really great industry.
those of you on the membership committee will be getting in contact with you to start these inductions. We'll have to do them in about
Pretty hairy.
3 meetings, because there's 5 of them.
Best experience
We
of my
might be
life.
having a 6th person come in, so. The membership committee is happy to see some new members coming in.
Ended up selling that company.
And,
then I went out
so,
on my own, about 2 years ago.
Membership committee members,
Still
be
doing
ready
that.
for about 3 meetings, end of September and first part of October.
Pallet services.
Okay, I have a happy
Cool
question.
little under the radar.
A lot of you know that I work at Johnny Fire, and it's not your traditional, city fire, it's a little different, it's industrial, we do planes and crash trucks and stuff like that. And I have a promotion on top of that, I am now a maintenance firefighter, I have an extinguisher yard with thousands and thousands of extinguishers, and I supply all the units and blah, blah, blah.
We have.
Anyway, so I'm working away in my little yard, doing my stuff, and I get a call on the radio, you know, do you have your credit card? Yes, do you have your stuff? And I'm like, yes. And then I go, get back to the, station ASAP. So I get back there, we got 20 minutes to get on the, 787 Max. You're going to Glasgow, Montana. I'm like, okay.
So that's
just
my
for the-
story.
Just for some testing.
Questions?
So, this is what we do, we usually have. You never know when you get, I've been there before, and we landed, and the landing gear broke.
I did
We were there
work
for
at
9
GE.
days.
Yeah,
and
you did, but you
those are-
said that
there's
other-
stitcher cleaning and stuff, but anyway, so I got on this plane.
You know, John, I was at Janicki when Janicki still only had like 50 employees.
Emulate,
And I think at
weights
the
and
time I was
stuff.
there
and
with the group
This,
of like 3.
it's not put together all of it, so it's open and you see all the wires and stuff, and shakes and rattles and stuff. Anyway, we flew over there.
Any other questions?
Dawson landings and stuff, and it was practicing its,
What you did in your little league.
pilots just sitting there, playing just doing this thing all by itself. You know, it's all by
Yes, and,
All by itself. And
Louis
remember,
was
they
there.
don't do anything.
Louis and Rick Tucker
Sit
were
up.
my coaches a lot of years.
Pilots, and I was like, yes, I want to do that. And this is super cool. Now, those people think it's really super cool when they say, can I spray water on the crash track? And we're like, no, because it's boring to us. And what's boring to them is sitting up there, looking at that, and we're just like, yes, so I got to sit up there and watch it, and it is, technology is so amazing. And I know many of you know all this stuff, but it's just
So my son
amazing to
joined.
see that huge. I mean, there's 2 people sitting there, but they're not doing anything. They never touch that steering wheel at all the time. The tower at one point was saying, look out for that little plane to your left. Left. Oh, and I had a gag at the silence that after 10,000 feet or something, I couldn't speak anymore, which was challenging. like hiding somewhere, and I wasn't allowed to speak. They didn't take my headset away, so that was good. So I did maintain silence for this thing, but it's pretty amazing. So it really is that traffic controller that is keeping you safe up there, and that big old plane just did its little thing and landed on the ground. It was just amazing. Just wanted to share that story because it's so impressive to me. And a busy time. What's that? What? It's technology. I know, but it's autopilot. What?
You're not supposed to be up in the car.
Oh, I think it's experimental. It wasn't a commercial plane. It's still on my phone. You can do anything. I've been told. It's okay. Put this on YouTube right now. Okay,
It'll be there.
so are we ready for a speaker?
Any other happy marks?
Oh,
Let's
sorry.
go. All right, well, thank you, Marty, and now we know we always have a backup speaker with you. All right, it is time for early leavers, but you don't want to leave because we get to learn a little bit about ourselves. And Travis, are you going to go first?
Pretty cool too, because the guys are.
All right, so our first speaker today is Travis, and he's a quote-unquote new member.
I want to swim across the border.
So we'll have one new member talk, and then we'll have one seasoned member talk. And that'll be Becky Healthy.
Last year, this year. we
So
had asked-
come on up, Travis, and tell us all about yourself.
I wondered if Marty could selection.
I got more stories.
The thing that amazes me is
Thank you, Marty. Actually, you're great, and I appreciate all your organization.
they literally can't
Keeping your team
electronics because there's no cells.
September, July. All right. Welcome, Travis.
They did this. Play and interact. They did this really fun thing called, and we keep it short. The guys took all this stuff out of one of their, this is like the thing everybody loves to do. They get up in front of a crowd and walk over. And they spray water. Again, down the beach. They slide on this thing. Right when you're getting to the end, I would just, everybody in 2 minutes talking about whole history for those of you that don't know see. So I'm a Sedro-Woolley Rotary. I can only do it a few times before my back is back. Washington University with an accounting degree. All right, if you guys. Was that the Western or the accounting? I figured, I thought I better clarify.
What year was that, Travis?
What year was that? That was 95. And we sell products all over the world. And then I basically spent the rest of my career being a recovering bulk distribution system, trying to find ways to get out of it. And I'm still at it. We'll treat up to 250 guys. Let's see, I have a wife. She was in my class in high school, which was developed for years. Disasters. We have 3 kids. She's 16-year-old son. And so when the hurricane happened, the crime, we were going through teenagers. I said, "Are you guys doing it?" And literally, I think it flipped because overnight we were like cruising along thinking, 2 weeks later, why else those people talking about teenage years, and then all of a sudden, so I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. So we got a girlfriend there, we got a driver's license. Yeah, we're here. We're donating 7 systems from there. We just had a long discussion last night. So that was interesting. You guys, so those of you that have been through teenage years, 2 or 3 members of you on this view. Those of you, Ruth, that are coming up to teenage years, if you guys would like to, I would love to.
Hunter's 13.
Oh, that's right.
And he knows everything.
Yeah. Notice I asked you.
No.
Anyway, I was in Rotary. I looked up to the Rotarians in this town, and I joined Rotary after I graduated from college, and I always wanted to be a Sedro-Woolley Rotarian. I was a Rotarian for about 10, 12 years, and then I took a position about building. How does sound work?
It should be going.
Got too intense, and I couldn't.
The emergency water purification system was designed for emergency services or disaster relief organizations, for fire departments, public health departments, universities, or any other location where large groups of people depend on a safe supply of water. The entire system weighs 177 pounds and can be transported to any location accessible by road or foot. This reusable bulk water purification system can be pre-positioned and immediately available during and after an emergency without power requirements, and replaces the expensive
First day
stockpiling
I
of
walked
bulk
into
water.
Rotary and Howard.
The divvy system handles dirty source water for water disinfection and microfiltration, all the way to distribution to the community. Easy to assemble and use, the Divvy 250 system will be producing safe, good tasting drinking water at a rate of 250 gallons per hour in just 90 minutes from setup to dispensing. By adding additional water containers, you create a continuous distribution of treated water. Such a solution
Ended up moving into the CEO position in that company. I think it's waiting on the internet. Best experience of my life, and it really kind of taught me. It's going to talk about that, but if it doesn't, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Is easily scalable to handle the hydration needs of a large group of individuals or an entire community. One Divvy 250 system with multiple tanks is capable of producing 6,000 gallons of safe drinking water every 24 hours. Setup is as simple as assembling the soft wall storage tank, connecting the pumps and water lines, assembling the filter support and distribution system called the pod, and you're ready to start filling the tank any fresh water source. With the addition of the pre-dosed calcium hypochlorite in aqueous solution, the water disinfection process begins. After the disinfection holding time, the water can be pumped through the Sedro-Woolley filter to the distribution lines for immediate use. The Divvy 250 system was developed for easy transport to remote locations. It does not require electrical power, generators, or fuel to operate. The Divvy was created with innovative, lightweight space-saving technologies and man-portable features. For emergency the system can be easily stored in a shelter and warehouse and provides a convenient resource for fire departments, emergency services, and other response agencies or relief organizations without adding warehouse water.
Just go ahead and you're all right.
Waterborne bacteria, protozoa, particulate, taste, and odors, and effectively inactivates viruses. Using a combination of calcium hypochlorite treatment and microfiltration together provides the most water purification. The pre-dosed granular calcium hypochlorite is NSF Standard 60 certified for treating drinking water at safe levels.
Yes, and
The Divvy is made in the USA by
Louis and Rick Tuzzer were my coach for a lot of years in Louis baseball. In fact, I was just over at a meeting at Louis here not long ago. He actually pulled out a team photo, not these. I think it was like black and white, and still, but it's a very cool system. If anybody's interested, contact me, or you can actually go to the
This is not looking for self-affirmation. Go ahead.
Travis, I think it would be reasonable for you to put a formal request into the board, and maybe we can fund one or two or three of those.
Boy Scout, I've always loved to say Boy
All right,
Scout.
our next speaker is Becky Elding, our seasoned Rotary.
I joined Rotary in 1997, and I was brought into the club by Norm Curtis. And to start off, I was actually born in Bozeman, Montana. My dad worked near Yellowstone Park on a huge ranch, and they ran 7,000 head of cattle on that ranch, so his days were spent on a horse. And it was pretty, well, now this ranch has been sold to Ted Turner, and he runs Buffalo on it. A couple of my parents worked with on the ranch are still there, running that place.
Good friend of mine.
But when I was about 3, we moved to the Colville Indian Reservation.
They got to the point
In
where
the early 1900s, the Indians opened up part of the reservation for sale to white people. And my grandparents, on both sides, bought a bunch of property up there. My grandfather had 5,000 acres that he ran cattle on. And another uncle bought, I don't know how many thousand of acres it was, but it was a wheat farm. So I grew up on dry wheat. And we lived a mile from Julie Lake. Julie Lake was a one-room schoolhouse, but unfortunately, when my dad was little, he
They're like, you know what? I want to swim across the border, so they all bailed out of the news. I was swimming in the United States.
One way.
And then last year, or this year,
I was
we
in
went
first
back.
grade, and
They
I got
love
sick
whitewater
every day because it was a lot of dust, and the roads were windy, and our bus drivers drove like 60 miles an hour.
The thing that amazed me
And
was
sometimes he would go over bumps, and my head would hit the ceiling of the bus. And
literally can't.
he was kind of a fun bus driver because he would take a boat on the bus and he would say, "You guys want to go to school today?" And we'd go. And if we had a party at school,
We did this really fun thing called Billy.
and if we didn't,
Which
we'd
the
take us
guys
back
took all the
because
stuff
during the
out of the
winter, the
road.
roads got really bad and we were mostly snowy. And several times when I was at school, the snow would pile up, it'd be snowing hard, and we couldn't get home.
She out into the river.
So, I spent many nights during the winter.
I can only go a few times before my back is back.
And then when I was in seventh grade, the wheat prices were down and we
Wouldn't
were
mind.
very poor. And so
I'm gonna interject something
we would
really
go-
cool, Carl.
We would move to town and he would work at the
When I was up
lumber.
at McNett,
So we moved to town, rented a little house on the Okanagan River. We lived there. We were all excited because we were only a mile and a half from school.
and they
It was
sell products.
awesome. Like this walk
They
to
came up
school.
with really
And
innovative,
we lived there for a few months and then the Okanagan flooded really bad. And
we'll
our
treat
house, my mom had a dream that her piano was going underwater.
The point of this thing.
So she called everybody she knew, and while we were in school, they evacuated the house on trucks, and we got home and
So
we didn't have
when
anything,
the hurricane
except
happened,
what we were wearing.
I called the.
So we moved in with our grandparents because the house we had lived in up on the reservation had burned
If
down.
you remember after
So we
Katrina,
didn't
right?
have anywhere to live.
A few weeks later, all of a sudden, the big issue
Yeah.
was.
So we were living with my grandparents, there
So
were 5
I'm pretty sure
kids,
it's gonna.
2 adults,
So
and
they're there with,
you know,
he said, yeah.
I'm
we're
sure
here,
that was
we're
really
donating
stressful
7
for them.
systems.
And so some of the reservation people gave us a house, they said we could live in it for free, and it was backed up,
If you guys
on top
would be
of the
okay with it,
reservation.
I'd like to show you just like.
and it
two
was
or three
called the
that
Rat
we
House,
want.
because it had been infested with
Pretty
a lot of
easy.
animals, no
If
windows
you guys
in the
would like
house.
to, I'd love to
And
support.
the debris and garbage in the house was pretty high, we had to take shovels and
Notice I
wheelbarrows
asked you
just
guys.
to get that out. And there was a dead cow in there. Yeah. And the water, the whole time we lived there was just horrible. And we had rats and mice running everywhere. And my dad got a hold of some strychnine, so he would poison the mice. And we took big coffee cans and filled them every day with dead mice and was buried.
It should be going.
So that was kind of horrible living there. We didn't
The
have.
emergency water purification system was designed for
But we were
emergency
right,
services
bus
or
stops.
disaster relief organizations. Universities, or any other.
And then my grandfather passed away, we moved down to
Depends
this
on the
ranch.
safe
He
supply
was
of
the one
water.
that lived on the 5,000.
The entire system
He ran
weighs
a town.
177
So we took
pounds
over the
and can
cow
be transported to
and
any location
we were
accessible by road or
From
foot.
the main road to
This
the town
reusable
house. So I
water
spent
purification system
a lot,
can be
2.5 miles
repositioned
each
and
way,
immediately
walking to one
available
bus,
during
walk
and
another
after
bus,
an emergency
till about
without
3
power
hours
requirements
school.
and replaces the expensive
Sometimes I
stockpiling of
would
bottled
cut
water.
like horse, we would.
The Divvy system
roads were
aims to
really bad.
resource
We'd
water
ride our horse
from water
out to the bus.
disinfection and microfiltration,
Drive a lot.
all the way to
The
distribution
horse
to the
was supposed to
community.
go back home.
Easy to assemble and use, the Divvy 250 system will be producing safe, good tasting drinking water at a rate of 250 gallons per hour in just 90 minutes from
Not
setup
home,
to
I was
dispensing.
with a friend because I can't.
By adding additional water containers, you create a continuous distribution of treated water. Such a solution
Then I lived with my grandmother in Bridgeport, went to school in Brewster.
Oop.
That time I had a car.
I think
so
it's waiting
was
on the
able to,
internet.
You know, take my car to school. And when I
It's
graduated.
gonna talk about that, but
Right
if
after
it doesn't,
I
I'll tell you.
graduated, I
Yeah.
got married and we moved to
just
Saudi
isn't
Arabia.
easily
And I lived
scalable
there
to
for
handle the
4
hydration
years.
needs of a large group of individuals or an entire
That was a
community.
pretty strange.
One
country.
Divvy 250 system with multiple
And I
tanks
tried,
is capable of
I was
producing
really impressed
6,000
with the
gallons
part
of
of
safe
it,
drinking
but
water
in
in
the end,
24
I told
hours.
myself I needed to
Setup is
adjust.
as simple as assembling the soft wall storage tank, connecting the pumps and water lines, assembling the filter support and distribution system called the pump, and you're ready to start filling the tank with any fresh water source. When
And then in
the addition of the
1990,
pre-dosed
we
calcium
heard that-
hypochlorite in aqueous solution, the water disinfection
We were
process
being
begins. After the disinfection
by
holding time,
and
the water can be
so
pumped
they were
through the
like
Sedro-Woolley
200,
filter to the distribution lines for immediate
there.
use.
And they were coming across the
The
border.
Divvy 250 system was developed for
So,
easy transport to remote
a friend of
locations.
mine,
It does not require
her
electrical
husband
power,
just
generators,
started
or
using
fuel
it
to operate.
They cut
The
off all
Divvy was created with
communication
innovative,
to
lightweight,
us. So we had
space-saving
no
technologies
idea
and man-portable
They
features.
smuggled in a
For emergency
newspaper.
service applications,
Life
the
read
complete
what was
system
happening.
can be
She's
easily
on
stored in a shelter or warehouse that provides a convenient resource for fire departments, emergency services, and other response agencies or relief organizations without having to warehouse water. Additionally, the Divvy can be quickly cleaned and ready for immediate redeployment.
And so they're listening to
The
the
Divvy 250 system
So I called
removes
my
waterborne
sister
bacteria,
and said,
protozoa,
you know, it gets really
particulate,
bad.
taste, and odors, and effectively inactivates viruses.
And the
Using a
phone
combination
was-
of calcium hypochlorite treatment and microfiltration together
So a
provides
bunch
the
of
most
us
reliable water
ladies,
possible and meets United
get
States
some
EPA requirements
ABC
for
radios
biological water
in my bedroom.
purification. The pre-dosed granular calcium hypochlorite is NSF standard safety
So I was
certified
writing down
for
all
treating
the
drinking
words.
water at safe levels.
And then we would get
The
together.
Divvy is made in the USA
What did you
by
hear?
Aquamira Technologies of
And
Logan,
I went
Utah.
into the travel agent and I said, I'm gonna get out of here. And he said, you can't leave without a visa.
Not
And
these
they aren't issuing visas right now for
But
people
it's
to leave.
very cool system.
So,
If anybody's interested,
Um,
contact me, or you can actually go to GoFundMe.
I had worked in personnel,
You'll go.
and one of the guys that was new in personnel was in Maryland. And they were integrating US Well, this guy, he didn't like me at all because I would give him unauthorized time off because he never would show up for work.
All right, our next
And that was
speaker
kind of their work
is
ethic.
Becky Elding.
And
Our
so-
seasoned
So when I was leaving, in 1997, and I was brought into the club by Alden Curtis. And to start off, I was actually born in Bozeman, Montana. I finally got my dad worked and I went to Yellowstone Airport and I didn't have a drainage and all the flights. And they ran 7,000 head of cattle on that. So I just asked what plane was going where and I was gonna get on. And it was the pretty plain. It was now, the frame has been sold to Shell Turner and business class passenger. The plane was my parents worked with, and I said, all right, it's there. It was $3,500. But when I was about 3, I did the Colville Indian Reservation. Then I got paged at the airport because my flight was the Indians opened up part of the reservation evacuation flight for women. And my grandparents on both sides bought 2 hours property up there. And my grandfather had 5,000 acres. Well, the evacuation flight didn't get off, and another uncle bought, they didn't leave it for 100,000 of acres, and things were getting weak for me, so I grew up on a dry, so I got to Paris. We lived a mile from Julie Paris. Julie Lake was a one-room schoolhouse, but unfortunately, and my dad was always on Saudi Arabia. He could ride his horse to Julie Lake when I went out of the airport, and the x-ray machine was home again, strong. We were kids, they shoved that exam so hard, and our bus trip, I used the card, and nobody would take my side of me off because every day, I was in first grade, so I sat there, and I got sick every day, there was a lot of dust, and the roads were windy, and our bus drivers drove like 60. And I thought, well, it's not gonna do me, and sometimes he would go over bumps in my head, so I found it where the ceiling of the bus, I was coming in, and it was coming in with our bus driver because he would take a vote on the bus and finally say, you guys wanna go to school today? And we'd vote there. And if we had a party at school, we'd say, yeah, we wanna go to school. And if we didn't, we'd take us back because during the winter, luckily, I knew some of that. And several times when I was at school, the snow would come, I think I was out like 35 hours or so. And we couldn't get home. So, I spent many nights during the winter with somebody else's. So anyway, I eventually moved back here, and then when I was in 7th grade, for the wheat prices were down. And I love Rotary, I think you guys thought he would go, a lot of you have moved to town, he would work as a lumber mill. It's just been a great experience, rented a little house on the Okanagan River, and Norm is always really proud, because we were only about, he brought me into Rotary, it was just awesome, like this walk. We did just like 2 weeks ago in Okanagan.
Thank you, Becky. You have about 2 minutes.
Our house, my mom had a dream that her piano was going underwater. So she called everybody she knew, and while we were in school, they evacuated the house on trucks. We got home and we didn't have anything, except what we were.
You should have one of those inspirational talks where you charge lots of money
And burned down.
story.
So we didn't have any.
John, Ward.
And so we were living with my grandparents, there are 5 kids.
Usually
3
they,
adults, and, I'm sure that was really stressful for them.
of the years you've been.
And so some of the reservation people gave us a house, they said we could live in it for free, and it
I
was
think
back
about 6.
on top of the reservation. And it was called the
Before
Rat
that, I
House,
was a
because
silver
it had
and a
been
bronze.
infested with a lot of animals, no windows in the house, and the
All right, well,
debris
let's
and garbage.
Call this
and
meeting
high, we had to
over,
take
and
shovels
thank you for
and
coming.
barrels.
Next week, we have a golf tournament. On Tuesday, we have golf practice.
And the water, the whole time we
Carol
were
and I
there
will
was
be there to
beautiful.
help.
And we
That should be a
had
lot of
rats
fun.
and
Is there
mice
anything else
running
coming up
everywhere.
that you need to know?
And my
One thing I
dad
can think
got
of is that if you're a
strict
member of
mice,
Team
so
September, you're on the board, thank you for doing a good job. Team October, you've been put on notice to get your programs ready. But really, November and December and
So that was
January.
kind
Anybody
of
here
horrible,
from
that we
Team
didn't have
November?
to eat.
Maybe thinking about programs.
We were right on the
Team
bus
December.
route, so.
You guys have So let's be lining those up. So we have.
And then my grandfather passed away, and we moved down to his ranch, and he was the one that lived on the
With that,
5,000 acres, and he ran
As
cattle.
Gandhi would say,
So we
live
took
as
over
if you
cattle
were to
ranch.
die tomorrow, learn
We were
as if
back
you were,
From the main
live
road,
forever.
2.5 miles, so I spent
have a great day.
a lot of 2.5 miles each way, walking to one bus, and then caught another bus, and it was still about 3 hours from school. Sometimes I would pack my horse, if the roads were really bad, we would ride our horse out to the bus and take the bridle off, and the horse was supposed to go back home. The horse didn't always go back home, but my dad would go after him, And one day I just got really mad and said, I'm not coming home, I'm gonna go stay with a friend because I can't ever get to school, and it was like, this is too much. So I stayed with a girlfriend in town for a few months, and then I lived with my grandmother in Bridgeport, went to school in Brewster. At that time I had a car, so I was able to, take my car to school. And when I graduated, right after I graduated, I got married and we moved to Saudi Arabia. And I lived there for 14 years and that was a pretty strange country to live in. And I was really depressed, it was hard to live there, but in the end I told myself I needed to adjust and appreciate their culture. So I embraced their culture and I made friends, Arab friends, and then in 1990, we heard that we were being invaded by Iraq. And so they were like about 150 miles from where we lived, and they were coming across the border. And so a friend of mine, her husband had just smuggled in a newspaper because they cut off all communication to us, and so we had no idea this was really happening. And he smuggled in a newspaper, and his wife read what was happening, and she got an emergency visa. And she came to our exercise class at 8 in the morning, and she was crying. She goes, "We gotta get out of here." She goes, "I'm getting my kids out tonight." And I'm like, "Really? What's going on?" And then my grandma called me, and she said, "You need to get out of there." And the phone went click. And so they're listening to the conversation. So I called my sister in Spain, and I said, if it gets really bad, I'm gonna try to come to Spain to see you. And I said, "What's going on?" And the phone went click. So a bunch of us ladies, we could get some BBC radio, so in my bedroom, I could hear like every fifth or sixth word. And so I was writing down all the words we could understand. And then we would get together and kind of say, what did you hear, you know? And I went into the travel agent and I said, I'm gonna get out of here. And he said, you can't leave without a visa, and they aren't issuing visas right now for people to leave. So, I had worked in personnel, and one of the guys that was new in personnel was an Arab, and they were integrating US dollar personnel and trying to teach the Arabs some of that. Well, this guy, he didn't like me at all because I would give him unauthorized time off because he never would show up for work. And that was kind of their work ethic. And so when I went in to get my visa, who did I get to see but this guy that hated me, Abdullah. And Abdullah said to me, he said, I'll get you a visa if you'll take my kids with you. I mean, that's how, desperate it was. I finally got my visa and I went to the airport and I didn't have a ticket and all the flights were full. And so I just asked what plane was going where and I was going to get on it. And the plane, there was one passenger that didn't show up. It was a business class passenger. The plane was going to Paris. And I said, I'll buy the ticket. It was $3,500. And I didn't care, I just wanted out of there. Then I got paged at the airport because my flight didn't leave till 3 in the morning. And they said there's an evacuation flight for women and children leaving at 5 in the morning, 2 hours later. And I said, I don't care. I'm going on this one. Well, the evacuation flight didn't get off the ground, and they didn't leave for another day, and things were getting pretty hairy on the border. And so I got to Paris, and in Paris, I had Saudi riyals on me. I had about $100 in Saudi riyals, and I had my credit card. Well, when I went out of the airport, the x-ray machine was so strong, it wiped the magnetic strip off the card, and I couldn't use the card, and nobody would take my Saudi riyals because of the war, what was going on. So I sat there and I was like, what am I gonna do? I couldn't, it was just like a horrible situation. And I thought, well, it's not gonna do me any good to cry because nobody's here to help me. So I found out where the evacuation flight was coming in, and it was coming into Paris, but a different airport. And I couldn't get there without paying. So I finally begged Air France bus to take me there, and I left my luggage in the airport. And I got over to the evacuation flight, and luckily I knew somebody there and was able to stay in a hotel for a night before I went to my sister in Spain. But yeah, I spent I think it was more like 35 hours or so before I had anything to eat or, drink. I mean, yeah, it was kind of weird. So anyway, I eventually moved back here and went into real estate and have been a realtor for over 22 years. And I love Rotary. I think you guys, a lot of you are some of my best friends, and it's just been a great experience for me. And Norm is always really proud of that he brought me into Rotary.
Thank you, Becky. We have about 2 minutes left. Does anybody have a question for Becky? You got a minute or so for that. I would just like to add, while you're thinking of a question, that if you ever feel like you're having stress in your life, I think Becky can help you with that. You should have one of those inspirational talks where you charge lots of money and tell your story. It would be great. John Ward.
Becky, I noticed that you're usually named as a gold-winning realtor each year. Of the years you've been a realtor here, how many of those times have you been a gold medal winner?
I think about 6.
week, we have the golf tournament. On Tuesday, we have golf practice at the Sedro-Woolley course over here. Daryl and I will be there to help, and that should be a lot of fun. Is there anything else coming up that we need to know? One thing I can think of is that if you're a member of Team September, you're on the board, thank you for doing a good job. Team October, you've been put on notice to get your programs ready. But really, November and December and January. Anybody here from Team November? Okay, be thinking about programs. How about Team December? You guys have it easy because you got the school, but you still have 1 or 2 programs. So let's be lining those up so we have really good quality talks when we're here. With that, as Gandhi would say, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. Have a great day.